And what we're here to talk about is the legacy of Tony Sly. Of course, the late, great Tony Sly from No Use for a Name. It's been over a decade since Tony passed away. Kind of unbelievable to think that much time has passed. But despite him being gone for all this time, his music lives on. The thing when a musician passes, they do get to leave back a document of their life that now, especially, we can enjoy forever. Punk rock is a genre that has many, many great songwriters. I've said it in the past, and I will say it till the day I die. The strength of punk rock is in its songwriting. The anger, the aggression, the nihilism, the activism, that's all good stuff. Necessary components. But all of it doesn't happen without great songwriting. My opinion, I think Tony Sly may be the best lyricist that ever was associated with punk. But Tony's songwriting goes beyond that. Not only is he a great lyricist, he's also a great composer. And you've heard a lot of people talk over the years how much they learned about music. They learned that from Tony Sly. So I don't think it's an accident, the influence he's had and that the band overall has had. I do feel, though, they were slightly underappreciated in their time. You can agree or disagree with that, but I think it's unquestionable that they were not necessarily thought of as one of the bigger bands. Kind of hard to outgrow No Use for a Name, though. No Use for a Name is timeless music. Like Leche con Carne to Hard Rock Bottom. That's what I think the meat of the great No Use for a Name. Keep Them Confused and Feel Good album of the year, right? The last two albums. I think those albums were good, but they weren't quite on the level of that run of 4 or 5 albums from the mid-90s to the early 2000s. I think those albums were just on a whole nother level. And I think those are the albums that you think of when you think of No Use for a Name's career. And again, For Fiona, legendary song, classic song. Let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy the music of Tony Sly as sang by other people. Bay Area Punk Shows, thank you so much. Reached out to that channel to get permission to use that content in a YouTube video. So thank you, A, for having the channel. Tons of great stuff on the channel. Some of these shows you could basically relive just by going through the channel and putting them in order. So go ahead and check out that Bay Area Punk Shows. And also thank you for the permission. Let's do it. Justified Black Eye is always a perfect opener. I also too want to just comment on this song and a general theme that I find in No Use for a Name's lyrics. I feel like they're generally a conversation against a conversation to a troubled young male or a troubled young lady. Oh, so many of their songs can sort of just be processed through that lens. Chasing Rainbows, I feel like has to be one of the signature songs. Every part of it, the music, that intro that they're kind of going through, the lyrical content, as I mentioned. Again, it's a piece of advice. You know, he's not telling you not to trust people. Just don't go chasing rainbows. A simple message, and that's what I take away from his songs. There is a message, kind of a lesson. Some of them are parables in a way. And I think that really connects to a soul of music in a way that other bands don't. His songs are more personal than Invisible Enemy. Absolutely. I think you might say emo, not in a lip ring and bangs kind of way, but actually that emotional resonance of the interpersonal dynamics. But then he also did have the great Screw the System songs and the political songs that he did very well too, and could mix in very well, and they went very well with these types of songs. Like, seriously, how many other choruses were there really like that in punk? And when you talk, Dave, about the originality of the lyrics, that's what gets to me. I was a moderately big No Use for a Name fan back in the early 2000s in my heyday. But they were just one of the bands that I liked. You know, I went to see them live. Every time they were on a comp, I always took note. A lot of DVD footage of them. I did like them. But would I put them on the NoFX Bad Religion level back then? No, I really wouldn't. It wasn't until I'm in my mid-30s And I start going to the local record store, and the Fat Records albums are always just a little bit cheaper. I was like, hey, cool, No Use for a Name. And then next time I went, I bought No Use for a Name again, and I kept consuming their whole catalog. And then I realized, holy shit, this is really good music. Not only is it really good music, it was really resonating me in my mid-30s. Probably more than it would have resonated in my teenage years. Which, again, that speaks to that timeless thing we were talking about earlier. That not all punk can always reach. No Use for a Name definitely reaches that. I feel like maybe part of why that happened is, I know Jim Lindberg from Pennywise kind of gets credit as being the punk rock dad. I mean, he literally wrote the book and made the movie. But beyond that, I feel that the other guy, and Jim has mentioned this, was Tony Sly. Like, my man was a grown-up in the sea of children. Like, he was a family guy. He had those pressures. He had those responsibilities that I don't think a lot of other people in the scene could quite relate to. I mean, back then when you're talking about punk rockers who had children, you're thinking more of like the guys from the 80s. The answer is still no. It's just such a banger. And it yells about the candle in the wind. I mean, it's epic. And this is a really good performance of it as well. Jason Cruz is also just like the coolest guy in the world. Like, just has the coolest vibe of anybody ever. Man, Jason really nails this song. But I'm hearing this song. I'm seeing the video. I'm ready to go snowboarding and have that girl be all annoyed all the time. Funny story about that video. Go ahead and look that up of how that all went down too. Whoever asked earlier for On the Outside. Really fun for Now let's have some fun with Mike here. We're going to talk about vocal talent. Mike's a great songwriter, a great singer, distinct voice. But as far as vocal talent, you have Fat Mike, Karina right there. One of these things is not like the other.
You ready to do this? I know you.
This is just, it's the ultimate like toxic relationship song ever. Of, you know, we are bad for each other and we know it. It's old songwriting trope. Pulled off so good here. His hair is extremely on point here. There is no wiggle in that hawk whatsoever. I could not hold my arm up long enough to keep up with Karina's note that she was holding there. That is insane that she's able to do that. And this is actually kind of a real moving performance. Mike is very emotional during this performance. And I don't know if you could see on the small screen there, but you have Aaron and Tony's widow embracing there. There's a lot of life there. There's a lot of life happening right now. Listen to some dancehall crashers now just for fun. So I'm not from San Francisco. I got no allegiance to San Francisco. I want a Joey Cape's Misfits San Francisco Giant shirt here, though, because that just looks awesome. Remember how I talked about so many of their songs resonate with me on this deep level of adulthood and growing and age and all that? They can still do teenage angst very, very well. Right from the Jacket is a great example of that.
Kind of the best time to do a Christmas song.
And it is almost the holiday season. And so Fairy Tale of New York will get regular rotation in my household for like the next 2 months. Russ, everyone's favorite hockey scout, of course. He didn't feel like calling her an old slut on junk to her face. I seen that. I didn't click on it yet. I didn't click on it yet. Yeah. Such a fun song, such a fun version, but it's about to get a little misty-eyed in here at this next one. And so, in case you can't make it out or can't see, that is Hefe, of course, Hefe of NoFX fame, which is funny because he's about to do International Youth Day, feet away from Tony's wife. So very emotional, a lot of emotions going on, and I've always found it ironic with this performance is the guy who only sings in NoFX songs doing joke lyrics, doing joke songs. Very talented, obviously. He's got all the impressions. He's a classically trained musician. He knows what he's doing. But not someone you necessarily associate with this kind of high art that he's about to do in this real emotional resonance. And I'm just telling you right now, he pulls it off beautifully. This is a great version. There's also that the acoustic version that Joey Cape has. I want to say it came out on a No Use for Name DVD, but it's pretty available on YouTube. There's a few of them that Joey Cape does, and he takes it much slower, but also I think serves the song very well. Jeez, man. Look how emotional they are there.
That was killer. That sounds so good.
That's good stuff, man. That is good stuff.
You're right now.
So in my opinion, Not Your Savior is the best No Use for a Name song. Again, that's just my opinion. It really resonates with me. Again, I think I resonate a little bit with the little bit slower side sometimes of bands. I feel like all the bands can do fast. It takes special bands to keep their edge and slow it down. Not Your Savior is not actually a slow song. If you try playing it, it's ridiculously difficult. But I love it. I love the message of it too. Of, you know, I've always taken it as a guy who's like 22, telling like some young kid like, hey, I'm not the example. And you know, we'll talk about it here lyrically. I don't have a job, but I can show you how to be a slob. Like, that's perfect. Who can't relate to that? And especially like these guys. You got to believe that it had to be weird for guys in the scene at that point in time who really were just kind of regular guys, but had a level of fame. Not massive level of fame where they couldn't go to the store or anything like that, but enough of a level of fame that kids looked up to them. That had to be awkward. I don't think any of them ever really signed up to be role models. And that had to be something. Perhaps a few too many for Joey before he started that on the different verse. And when No Use wants to turn up the heat, they could turn up the heat. This personally right here, Coming Too Close, might have been the first No Use song I ever heard. It's definitely around this time period when I kind of discovered them. I think that's what I'm talking about too with some of the emotional resonance of the lyrics. The use of the word please in the lyric, so powerful. It's simple. Like, okay, he's just saying, you know, when he says, please understand, I think it kind of hits you. Yeah, and I told the story earlier. I didn't give him a big chance till my 30s. Really, it was. I listened to him as a teenager. Again, went and saw them live, did the whole thing. But it wasn't until I started collecting records much later in my 30s, and then I started kind of absorbing the lyrics, and like I said, I felt this is for grown-ups. Yes, it's angsty, but this for the big kid table here. Downloading from Napster, the truest form of dissent, right there, Dave. Nice too. No one could save us from the undertow. There's a lot going on right there.
Hey, this all goes to show that Tony was a better singer than all of us. Fucking A.
Got that right, Mike.
That's true, man. I have no business. Hey, somewhere. It's ready. Let's go. Keep the fire. It goes like this.
And again, they could bring it. I just said all this stuff about the emotional stuff. They could absolutely bring it. That was just an amazing tribute to Tony Sly and his songs. Again, I think it's one of the best pieces of live music on the internet. Why? Because Tony Sly wrote great songs, come through no matter who sings them. Really, really good stuff.